So the finals ended. Now let's talk about what this means for each team. I know I had made a video previously saying what winning the finals would be for each individual team, but I hadn't done now I'm doing a video of after the finals, what are new realizations that I've had, or at least that I've seen. Firstly, I want to talk about Miami briefly because I really want to talk about Jokic the most, but in my opinion, like for Miami and especially Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra, this guarantees them it guarantees Jimmy Butler as a Hall of Famer. Jimmy Butler throughout his entire career has just been one of those guys who's been insane. He's been consistently great, and he came into the league being an underappreciated, shooting guard for the Bulls, who was drafted as the 60th pick, to now being the best player on a team which made the finals, and he's done that twice now. He has been amazing his entire career, and even though he's a regular season merchant, not a regular season disappear, like in the regular season, he just plays well enough to be an All-NBA player, right? And then just like exits the scene, he plays enough games and does enough just to be in the All-NBA All-Star conversations, and then, get himself out of those. But now his resume looks like a 6-time All-Star, a 5-time All-NBA, a steals champ in 2021, 5-time All-Defensive Team, and the 2023 Eastern Conference Finals MVP with a 2015 Most Improved Player. That to me looks like a phenomenal career, which should be appreciated and bestowed in the Hall of Fame, considering what other careers we've put in the Hall of Fame. Like Tracy McGrady's a guy who we put in the Hall of Fame, and he had less All-Star appearances, right? He averaged way less points, and he averaged way less points for more seasons of his career. No, he had 7 All-Star appearances, right? But the things with Tracy is that even though, yes, he had the 7-year peak where he was in the All-Star All-NBA team, and even though, yes, he had that for longer than Jimmy, he fell off and never did anything in the playoffs, and everyone can unanimously agree that he's a Hall of Famer. He has career averages of 20 points per game, even if he won the scoring title 2 seasons, and those 7 seasons where he was one of the best players in the world put him into the Hall of Fame. And I believe that these 2 finals runs by Jimmy Butler, which he's had in his career, right, have really put him up there with a guy like Tracy McGrady or Paul George, or these guys who may not be the best individually, but they have done legendary things. Wait, not a scrap Paul George, but they have done legendary things to improve the game and to cement themselves as great players. You see with Tracy McGrady, that was phenomenal regular seasons, incredible historic moments, and just be so consistently great. And then with Jimmy Butler, that was these 2 playoff runs plus all of the game-winning buzzer beaters and all of the incredible moments that he's had in the postseason as a player, and how he's impacted the NBA playoffs throughout the years. And I believe that this has cemented Jimmy in the Hall of Fame officially. Keeping up with the topic, let's talk about the Nuggets, especially Jokic. And this is really what I wanted to talk about. For the finals, let's recap before. In the end, Bam averaged the most points, and Bam was basically the MVP for the Heat. He averaged basically 22 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists with a block and 45% from the field, with about 12 turnovers 12 total turnovers with 3 assists per game. And he also had, I'm trying to get defensive numbers, totals, 4 blocks and 2 steals in the entire series. Then we have the second best player, which was Jimmy, which averaged 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists, with a steal and half a block on 36% from 3 and 41% from the field, with his defensive stats being 3 blocks and 4 steals. No, what I've seen from this is that they really were guarded to the best of their ability. And in my opinion, in this series, what happened was that since they put so much defensive pressure on guarding Jimmy and Bam, it caused both of them to really, have a lower production than usual. Like, Bam should not be shooting 45% from the field, right? Even if he shot 95% from the free throw line. And Jimmy shouldn't be shooting anywhere close to 40% from the field, especially when they give him that much attention. But moving on, let's talk about some positive things. Apart from that Jimmy is getting solidified in the Hall of Fame with this finals run, with that Bucks series, and with everything, Nikola Jokic has officially ascended himself into one of the greatest players of all time, confirmed. He's a 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. That doesn't matter. He's a 2023 NBA champion. He's a 2023 Western Conference Finals MVP. He's a 2-time MVP. And now he's the 2023 Finals MVP. This means that even if Nikola Jokic retires tomorrow, he is one of the greatest players ever. He's up there with Moses Malone, Julius Erving, up there with this group of guys with Dwayne Wade. Of course, he is not quite as good as them because he doesn't have longevity at all, but he's in this conversation of these guys who, even though if their career, let's say if Nikola Jokic's career finishes tomorrow, it's pretty incomplete, right? Like, there's obviously more room to grow, more championships to win, and even if you did win a championship, it is underwhelming if your career ends this way. Let's face it, that's true. Like, 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. Come on, like, let's face it. Nikola Jokic could do much better than that. He could have 10-time All-Star, 15-time All-Star, whatever, All-NBA. But in my opinion, right now, this just shows that he is up there in the category with guys like, Dr. J, who had legendary careers, and who, if he keeps going like this, he's going to finish top 10 all time. He's 28. That means that he's in the peak of his career, and for the past 3 seasons, right, for the past like 4 seasons, he's done something legendary each season. If it was not the P&R records, if it was not just being the first center to be that good of a playmaker, if it wasn't just to playing at the most games in a season, even though you're highly regarded as a superstar, which is something that we don't see normally, and winning 2 MVPs and now a championship and almost averaging a triple-double as a center is insane. This, mixed with the fact that he averaged 30 points, 13 rebounds, and 9.5 assists in the playoffs, shows that he is phenomenal. He shot 54% from the field, and I know that people are going to say that that is low, but let's face it, a guy who gets guarded as heavily as Jokic does in the playoffs can catch some slack for not having some good field goal percentage. Like, I know it's easy to say, nah, Jokic this, Jokic that, but the guy was getting guarded like if he was prime Michael Jordan. Like, they were throwing 2s and 3s at him, and he was making the right pass. And when they would throw one man on him, he was scoring effectively every time. And then he shot 46% from 3. Meanwhile, shooting a shot literally a percentile off. Like, he shot 79.9% from the field, from the free throw. So, to wrap all of this up, and to look at his stats, in the finals, he averaged 30 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, with a steal and a block, 58% from the field, 42% from 3, and 83% from the free throw line. He was the best player, he was making the right plays, and he led the entire playoffs in points, rebounds, assists, and win shares. Nikola Jokic, after this season, has ascended into one of the greatest players of all time. He led the playoffs in every major statistical category, which was not blocks and steals. He was the best player on the best team who won the championship. He won every single major individual player award that you can win, which is the Western Conference Finals MVP and the Finals MVP. And now he put up a historic performance in each one of the series, totaling in a playoffs which was so excellent and so complete that it will be regarded as one of the best runs ever had by a player of all time. He still has room to grow, and he's probably going to finish as a top 10 player of all time. And this is just the start of Nikola Jokic's legendary career.